Lasting powers of attorney are documents which enable an individual to grant authority for someone else to look after their legal affairs in a time when they have lost their mental capacity. And they're very important documents and can solve a lot of problems in the future. These documents should be thought about really when you're preparing a will. The difference is with a will that you ultimately know that you're going to die. That's an inevitability, that's inescapable. What people do not know is whether they will ever lose mental capacity in their journey through life until they die. And it's that period of time that lasting powers of attorney are relevant for. And the government actually say that people should consider making a lasting power of attorney literally when they become adults. But in fact, people by and large don't really want to consider things like that until perhaps they're in their mid-50s. So my criterion is if you're 50 or over, then you should definitely be thinking about preparing lasting powers of attorney. Lasting powers of attorney are relatively simple in terms of the information that we need to establish, but the most important thing is to consider who are going to be your attorney. So a husband and wife team might well choose the other as one of the attorneys, and if they have adult children, for example, they could choose their partner or their spouse and the children to act what we call jointly and severally, which means that they could all act individually but together. So it's a very flexible way of doing it. And what we would do is as soon as you thought you might wish to do a lasting power of attorney, we would send you a pro forma, and you could complete that, and we could then prepare the relevant documentation, and for preference we would like you to come in to sign the paperwork. And at that time we could give a full explanation of any aspects of it that were of concern. If you don't bother about a lasting power of attorney, and again, it's one of those things you can kick that can down the road. It's so easy to do that, you do nothing. But if you do make a lasting power of attorney, your people, your family have got the means to look after you and do things for you if you can't do it. This is the essential. And the fact is that if you haven't got a lasting power of attorney in place, you lose mental capacity, your family then have to go to the court of protection for something called a deputy, which is expensive, intrusive, and really it's basically a waste of the family's money if the alternative was preparing lasting powers of attorney in time. The first is the finance one. In general terms, that deals with the obvious things, running bank accounts, buying and selling property, all of those things that the finance aspects of your life. The fact is that once the document has been registered, and it's absolutely vital that lasting powers of attorney are registered as soon as they've been prepared, they can be used even if the donor has not lost mental capacity. That donor might be somebody who has basically a critical illness but still has their mental faculties. And in those circumstances, it's just as important that somebody can represent them and do all the things that need to be done financially. The other one is health and care. Now, very big distinction between the two. Health and care can only be used if the donor has lost mental capacity. And often, I suspect, it is in a situation where, in fact, the donor, the person granting the power of attorney, is unconscious. You're the family, you've appointed maybe your children to make decisions, and they can make those decisions on your behalf, but only in those specific circumstances. We're an excellent practice. We're extremely good at our job. hopefully we're friendly and we're approachable. If anybody involved in the lasting power of attorney is disabled, for example, we'll come out and see you at home. We don't charge extra for that. There are lots of different ways of facilitating a lasting power of attorney, and I wouldn't discourage people from going to the Gov website and having a look at what's there. Obviously, we make a charge, and if you go to the Gov website, you can actually manufacture your own lasting power of attorney free of charge. So that's the starting point. But people want to come to us and they say they would prefer to have it dealt with by a professional, and to quote Martin Lewis, we are the gold standard, so what more can I say?